Good morning, listeners. Welcome into episode 22 of a New Era podcast. My name is Hanson, better known as Fryddy Online, and this morning I am here with my dad, the OG Frid. Dad, would you like to say hello to the listeners?
Yes, good morning, listeners. We're back to our morning routine here. Coffee, Zen, not cocktail hour, but that's
I
fine.
know my Zens.
You don't?
I think they're in the living room.
Oh, no.
Yeah. Oh, well.
Yeah, I was, last night I was looking up potentially some other types of non-nicotine pet or stuff, so I might look at that.
That'd be good for you.
Yeah.
Yeah. I won't stop it, but...
No, but they were, nicotine-free type alpha, I think was one. Something else I saw. And one was a chew. So I might do that. But the flavor was sweet tea.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah. Yeah, so I might look at that.
Okay. All right. Well, enough nicotine talk. That was funny. That's our first time. We always mention the Zins on here stuff.
Yeah.
We've never actually gone into it about it.
Yeah,
So,
it all started on a golf course.
It did.
For
I was talking to somebody at the airport about that. I think on Monday. Or no. It was when we left. It was on Friday. Because before I left for Indy, I had a bunch of time, so I went and grabbed a beer. This guy's probably 45. He was just chilling at the bar watching the Pat McAfee show. And then there was another college kid, a couple seats away from us. And at a certain point, we're all drinking the beer, blah, blah, blah. And then we all reach to our pockets and pull out the Zins at the... It's like you would have just, assembled the Avengers or something. We all put them up. And so I started talking to him about it. And I was like, yeah, I just got one, gave one to my dad on the golf course, and he locked the fuck in for that round. So,
yeah.
Then it's spawned.
Then it just spawned beyond that. And yeah, I mean, I was a little concerned, but about your mom, but your mom's, she even went out and bought it from me once. So
that's sick.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we don't have that much to talk about this week. Celtics are still waiting until Thursday to start the series, but we'll get into that a little later. Nothing Patriots. Literally not a single thing, I think, came out about the Patriots that I care to talk about. Yeah. And Red Sox, we'll get into them a little bit because it's just another midweek. But the biggest sports spectacle, I'd say, this weekend is the NCAA College World Series Championship. Well, not the College World Series, but the National Championship tournament for baseball, men's baseball. And we've had some absolutely incredible games, incredible regionals so far, especially the Greenville Regional, which I was lucky to attend Saturday for the what might be game of the year. The ECU Wake game. I was literally, as I'm looking this up on the NCAA site, it's if you look for the bracket and the scores and the schedule and all that, it just has, I don't know if it's just targeted because I live around here, or if this is just on any page.
No,
it's just full ninth inning from,
yep.
You get the full ninth inning from the East Carolina Wake. Yeah. I'm
it is
minutes in at this point.
Whenever you pull up something about NCAA baseball tournament, Google, whatever, that is what is being popped up all the first time.
Because it was an amazing game.
I want to ask you.
You want to start on that? Just go from there.
I want to ask you a quick question before we delve into games and all that stuff. So, in terms of tournaments and visibility on TV, I mean, I love NCAA sports in general watching. I think it's more So since we moved down here and you guys ended up going to school and following ECU, but obviously we haven't seen Division 1 football playoff. Now there's been 2 and Division 1A and all. I love watching the soccer, both men and women. Obviously we have I've been personally part of, when we were up in Massachusetts, the hockey tournaments, and attended those because I've had teams stay at my hotels. You have obviously March Madness. We are fans of lacrosse, primarily that Memorial Day weekend tournament. And now you have,
also a couple weeks before it.
Yeah. And now you have baseball. Where would you rank these games? I mean, the tournament itself, 1 to whatever I mentioned.
I kind of get what you're asking here. I mean, I this is a great question. I was talking about this literally on Saturday at the bar where we were watching some of the other games. I mean, obviously it's March Madness #1. And even if you're the biggest baseball fan and you're trying to get behind college baseball, which I am, because college baseball, especially over the last couple of years, and like you mentioned, ever since I got to college here at ECU or did, but and that's
Did you get that degree?
That's the only good sports program that we've had consistently since I went to school here and graduated and passed. So, definitely paid a lot more attention to it. And as much as I am trying to, put people on the college baseball in this tournament because it's super fun and it's super electric and the stakes and everything, you still can't put it above March Madness. But I'd probably say, March Madness 1. So you said baseball, you said football. We haven't seen that yet, but we'll get the 16 team this next year. You said,
but yet you probably have seen, back then the Division 1A or FCS football tournaments.
I don't really care about the soccer ones. And I think, and isn't it the same damn 3 ACC teams every year?
Yeah,
and Clemson, you could Carolina, and Wake Forest.
And you could say the same thing with lacrosse, but
yeah, but I don't know. I don't think that's because of lacrosse's fault. I think that just goes to show you how damn good Notre Dame is.
Mm-hmm.
Going back to back. And Duke getting the Q. Well, no, because then you think about it, and then there's Syracuse, Johns Hopkins, Maryland. That's 6 really good teams that I can just think of.
Virginia,
off the top of my head. Virginia. Yeah, that are always good every year. So you might feel like you see the same teams in there every year, but it's probably not. It's just a collection of, the 4 out of those 8 or 9 we just mentioned.
Yeah.
I definitely put this one too, though. I put baseball too. I'll put. Well, what else? Lacrosse,
football, and soccer.
I haven't really watched too much. Yeah, you're saying the Division 2s and stuff like that. I've seen some of them, but I feel like those are just the same old teams. It's North Dakota State and one other
Montana
one is really
State.
Good. Yeah, those.
South Dakota, the Jackrabbits.
Yeah, those. However, if I'm trying to do this with even Division 1 in mind, that's going to have 16 next year. You could put it at, in terms of visibility, it's going to be number 2. But
fandom and just electricity and
well, actually, that's tough too because college football. Oh no, I'll probably have to put that at 2. Put baseball at 3, lacrosse at 4, soccer at 5. I was taking too long to do that, but I don't know. It just the TV and everything doesn't do it justice of this baseball championships. And obviously it's a different electric environment in, the jungle in Greenville, just for baseball and specifically for the playoffs. But I mean, you see this stuff and you see it at all of these regional host sites.
All of them.
In all the games in which their team was playing, I mean, it's packed out. You know, if people can be anywhere in the outfield in their field, they're going to be out there.
But all right, so you just said packed out every stadium. What is sad was last night. So I was watching, and I think it was Saturday night. All I did was just ESPN Plus and just go from.
You switch between, right?
I was just switching. It was awesome. And then they have the swing up.
Squeeze play or something, whatever. I don't know. I know what you're talking about, though. I was just about to say.
And I watched that a little bit yesterday. I mean, pretty cool. The only problem is that you don't get the on air. You have the people in the control center, and they're flipping between. You got 4 to 5 games up, maybe 6, and they're like, "Oh, look at here." Arkansas is down to 3 outs left or 6 outs, and they just box that. But it's still the people in the control center talking about it, and they're you don't get that rush of what's actually happening at that point. But yesterday, watching the Dallas Baptist Grand Canyon final or elimination, and that went down into extra, and unfortunately, it's in Tucson, Arizona, and it was empty because Arizona lost.
Yeah, they went 0-2.
So
isn't Grand Canyon like an online fucking school too?
No,
I mean they have a lot of fans in like that. Okay,
no, they're not. They started as online, but they had their first baseman. I think his name was Kevin York. Or Nick York. Nick Kevin?
York's like an actual player.
Yeah, so it's his brother was playing. That dude was a unit. First baseman, well, not a unit. He had to be 260, just a gut. And he was their first baseman. But
like Daniel Vogelbach.
Oh yeah, he was a big boy. But Grand Canyon, that was I love that game. But I'm absolutely. What I loved, as you mentioned, about all these little ballparks, loved looking at Clemson's park. I really didn't watch much of the UNC regional yet.
I did, but that field sucks. Fucking hate that stadium.
Georgia's got a great little ballpark.
I like Florida State's a little.
Yeah. I enjoyed NC State and watching that.
They need to allow people in the outfield. My buddy was telling me, I guess they don't. If they did, that whole environment in the field would look a lot better. But
I might actually put this and the tournament itself over football. I know football's going to be obviously packed, but I mean it'll be interesting to see. I guess, I mean, I'm sure the fans are going to come out. Obviously, they'll come out for their playoffs, but I've loved watching, you watch a Montana State and they go nuts and crazy. But I wonder if, these Division I schools are absolutely going to go amazingly crazy in, first round win or second round, like, North Dakota does, or Montana State or South. You know what I'm saying? Are they going to be more reserved? And Alabama was going to beat Nebraska anyway.
I don't think so, because if you think about it, still, it's like, regardless of if you're playing, like, I'll take ECU for a prime example. You're playing Evansville. I had no clue Evansville where the fuck it was up until yesterday, and they've been in the regional for like 3 days now. They're still one of the best 64 teams in the nation here, right? Because I think it's 64. And I mean, these guys are conference champions, so they've been tested. They went through their conference tournament, and baseball is one of those sports, at least, that I feel like with college football, there's a clear difference between the top of the top and the Sam Houston States and the Kernersville or whatever it is, Kennesaw State, those ones. But baseball's just one of those games that's just like you are way more susceptible to having just a bad game and losing to one of these teams than you are in any other sport in the NCAA, I think. Like even in basketball, yeah, you can have a bad shooting night, but you can still pick it up on the defensive end of the floor and like still win that game kind of comfortably. We see it all the time with like the 2 seeds and the 3 seeds that you think are going to go all the way type shit. But I mean, yeah, you have some of these teams that, I don't know, they might just be overlooking the team because they're like, oh, well, it's the 1-4 seed matchup. Fuck it, whatever. We're looking ahead to Southern Miss. I'll be honest. I did it too on Friday, looking ahead of Evansville. I was already trying to make plans. I was like, all right, cool. We'll see Wake Forest at 6 o'clock in the 1-0 game Saturday. We ended up seeing Wake Forest anyways, but it was in the 0-1 game after we both lost our first game because I think we were just overlooking it. So yeah, and that's just what makes for this tournament to just be so fun and be so just crazy experience. Because you have these teams that go on runs and then, it can recreate some big like David and Goliath sort of situations that end up just going well for these mid-major programs.
And let's take coaching. I mean, obviously, yes, basketball, there's got to be a lot of matchup and whatnot. And do you take the time out here? Do you foul here? Whatnot. But almost, the players are going to do it themselves a lot. Football, obviously, there's a play, but it's the players going to do that. Here, I think coaching based on bullpen alone. I mean, you look at ECU, you're playing 3 games in less than or in about 24 hours. You've played 3 games. Obviously, after seeing last night's game and their bats totally came alive. So I think that's going to continue, but pitching wise and the bullpen, there's
got to be no arms.
Yeah, your manager has to manage that so much more than I think any other of these sports in these tournaments.
Yeah. It's definitely an underrated aspect of the game and
the tournament.
I mean, in the tournament. Yeah, because not only just are you looking ahead at the game that you have to play, if you're playing Friday and you're looking ahead at the regional Friday or the regional final Sunday or Monday, like, yes, you're looking ahead 2 or 3 games at that point too, but you understand, like, Danny Beal threw 90 pitches yesterday in the noon game. After, I swear to God, he threw 45 on Saturday and threw another 45 on Friday. Like, every time he kept going out this weekend, I was like, is this guy going to get a fucking break? And he was blowing stuff for it. He got us out of the innings and stuff, so I'm fine with it. And he pitched phenomenal yesterday. But, like, it's just like, at a certain point, are these guys' arms going to fall off if, because, like, in the MLB, like, they're kind of,
they're babied.
They're babied. Yeah, it's like, oh, well, you closed today? Cool. Well, you can't come in and close for another 4 days now. But, like, college, man, if you're that dude, coach will throw you in. You just get warm, and until you tell him this arm can't go, he's going to throw you in every fucking game that he can, especially in a situation where you lose the first one and your season's on the line for the rest of the weekend.
And I think this sport, more than any, well, minus basketball, because you can have some incredible freshmen, but you're pulling in freshman arms, like that Wallace kid for ECU, who was a positional player because he went 2 ways, and he's not playing, obviously, a positional during this tournament. He is in your bullpen, and he's a freshman.
Yeah, I mean, the
coming into
pitcher...
and coming into situations, you put a freshman in, I think it was maybe bases loaded.
Probably.
One
Every
out.
time I looked up at the fucking thing yesterday, it was bases loaded.
And he has to come in and try and shut it down. That was what the Friday night game. No.
No, Friday.
Yeah,
The Friday we lost.
I mean
No,
the
that was not
Saturday
a.
game. The
Yeah.
Saturday game
You
against
talk. Oh, yeah.
Wake Forest when you put up 5 pitchers, I think, in one inning. Or
Yeah,
half
5
an inning.
pitchers in half an inning because they put up 5 runs. Let me just say, so that was, I mean, that game up until then and then afterwards was great. That home run they hit, I think Dixon Williams hit in, was it Dixon? Yeah, it was Dixon. That he hit in the right field in like the 5th inning to push it to 4-1. Went like right over my head. So that was pretty cool. That was probably the best view of a home run I've ever been able to see, like as it comes out of the park. But we were loud, we were feeling it at that point. It's like, okay, we're gonna play again tomorrow, type shit, and then get into the 9th, and it was like, we gave up 1. It was just like, all right, well, I think we had 1 out or some shit. Then we kept, give up another, and then you give up the lead, and then they got an insurance run on top of it, and from the top of the vibe from the top of the 9th, up 4-1, 0 strikes, 0 balls, 0 outs, to the start of the bottom of the 9th, after we just gave up 5, and I mean, I was pissed. I was so pissed. I was like, that's it. I had no faith in the team really to offensively, because they were showing a little more offense on Saturday, but it was not one of those things where I was like, they can just muster up 3 quick runs to win this game, and fuck it, they did. And it was crazy loud, and I was like, fuck yeah, man. That was so exciting. And then if we're watching the 6:00 game there, it's so funny because you look out in the outfield and there was fucking nobody there for VCU at Evansville.
Yeah. Yep.
I actually sold my tickets to it. But yeah, so a win yesterday at noon over VCU, and then a win last night, huge win last night over Evansville, like 19-6. So now we got a game 7 today. We are one of, let me see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 regionals that have yet to be decided. ECU Evansville for the Greenville one, Oregon State UC Irvine for the Corvallis regional, Norman Yukon for the Norman. Did I say Oklahoma and Yukon? Not Norman. In the Norman regional. We've got Oklahoma State and Florida still alive in the Stillwater one, and then UNC LSU in the Chapel Hill regional. So most of the spots have been actually decided already, which is crazy to see this early. I thought we had a lot more like game 7s yesterday. I will say though, regardless of who comes out of this regional for us, I'm so fucking scared to play Tennessee. That team is so damn good. They put belt to ass all weekend.
All right, one other quick question while we're talking about college baseball, and I brought this up to my friend Mike yesterday after we did our little pickup soccer, and you and I spoke about this, but let's have our feelings known to our audience. Carolina University baseball has to be by far the best in the nation in a whole, based on universities playing not only in this tournament, but yet potential college teams playing no matter what. I mean, the Carolinas have to be the hotbed for college baseball.
There's a chance for them to put 4 of the 16, right? Am I doing this right? 1, 2, 3. 4. Yeah, there's a chance for them to put 4 of the 16 in the College World Series ahead with 4 hosting regionals as the 1 seed. And then you've got other teams like South Carolina, 2 seed, Duke, who was a 2 seed, High Point, who was in there as a 4 seed somewhere, I think. I'm looking for them. There they are. Coastal Carolina, that was a 3 seed. You had ECU as a 1 seed. Wofford. Forgot about Wofford. That's in South Carolina as a 3 seed. It seems like we just do this year after year, put a bunch of teams in, and we'll see if this is maybe the year that at least one of them can do it. I'd root for State. I'm not going to root for Carolina to do it. If ECU doesn't, of course.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I just feel like it's just consistent, too. All these teams are really consistent. And you think back to maybe like 3 or 4 years ago, I think the last hump that needed to get over in terms of Carolinas and being that like number 1 state for college baseball was getting the rest of the pack in there, which it was like, State, ECU, Carolina were always good, but then there were...
And South Carolina have always been good.
South Carolina, sure. But then, dating back to, I'll even go 5 years, 6 years. I can't believe it's
We forgot UNCW was in it.
True, UNCW. You go back to when, like, Coastal Carolina and Duke, and I'm thinking of one more, and like Campbell / Wofford, one of the two. You think back to when those programs like took the next step to be like consistent where they're at now, where I can consistently see Coastal Carolina in the tournament every year. Same thing with Duke, because they used to be it used to be in the ACC, like it was Carolina and State baseball wise, and they were looking down on Duke, and Duke's got their name back in there, it feels like. So you get those little stragglers up there to be consistent playoff programs too. Even if they're not getting to the College World Series, they're putting up a fight. It just really solidifies it for me, I think.
Yeah. I mean, Florida, minus having Miami, who has always been well, but on a downward trend right now. Again, probably because of Duke and their uptick, but Florida only put up, I think, 3 teams. California had probably 3 programs.
Fresno State, San Diego, UC, SB, all in the same one, I think.
Or UNC Irvine, yep.
Oh, so they 4, UC Irvine.
Yep.
Is that all?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's it.
Oh, crap. And we even forgot Wake Forest.
We did forget Wake Forest. Wow. And they're a great program. Still lost. Indiana kind of put up a lot, low-key. Indiana State, Indiana, Evansville, and I think there was one more. Where the fuck is Oral Roberts?
Oral Roberts is Virginia. So, I mean,
Virginia's got a lot.
You had James Madison, Oral Roberts, Virginia. VCU.
Is that it?
That's it. I mean, I think that 4 programs.
Wow.
And even Georgia, I mean, they have Grambling. No, Grambling's not they're in Mississippi. Texas, I mean, you had Texas A&M, right? Were they in
Texas A&M, yeah, they were 1 seed.
And then Dallas Baptist, and Arizona.
Dude, Oral Roberts in Tulsa, Oklahoma.
Oh, really?
Not in fucking Virginia. Take that away from them.
All right. But I mean, Oklahoma, you only have 3. I mean, the Carolinas put up 7, 6, 7, 8.
All right, now that we saw Wake Forest, we can do this one more for the final time. ECU, Wake Forest, 2. Duke, 3. NC State, South Carolina, 4, 5. What is Bryant? Is Bryant here? No.
And Providence. Or
okay,
Rhode Island.
That's what I thought. 5. UNCW, 6. Coastal Carolina, 7. High Point, 8.
And Wofford.
State. or Carolina 9, Wofford 10. 10 out of the 64 from the two Carolinas. I didn't even count Clemson, did I? 11.
Yeah. Unreal.
Wow. Well, that's unreal. Man. Maybe that's why we just like it more, too. Maybe it just really means, not to sound like SEC or whatever, but really, maybe college baseball, really just means more around here because, we just have so many programs that are just consistently good. Speaking of which, I might take a sick day and go to this game at noon. I'm really thinking about it. I also feel like shit. It's probably because of all the beers I deleted at the games as is. But I think it's a regional final.
Yeah.
What do you think? You don't feel good about this.
About the game or taking a sick day? We just hope that your boss doesn't listen to the podcast.
That'd be funny. No, I don't think he does. I mean, at that point, it would have been long done and decided. There's nothing you can do. I think I might do. Sav wanted to go too.
Oh.
So, I know. And it looks kind of shitty out here. I won't lie, though. It's kind of like overcast-ish. It says it's 69 and cloudy. Light rain expected to start in 17 minutes. All the way up until 10. See, I don't understand. Now, granted, I know because they don't have that many games today. So Evansville, ECU noon. You got Game 6 for Oregon State, UC Irvine that was suspended, resumes at 3, and then their last game, 55 minutes after the conclusion of Game 6. Yeah, Oklahoma State, Florida at 3 o'clock. UConn, Oklahoma at 9 o'clock.
That's another thing.
North Carolina, LSU, 6 o'clock. I wanted that 6 o'clock slate. Fuck.
What other sport, like the Georgia Tech game, when they won, they had to play Georgia in under an hour? What other conference tournament or whatever tournament do you play? And then, oh, by the way, you're playing within the hour.
Yeah, but it's also, I think it's the only game that you can. I mean, it's not like you can do that in football. You can't physically play 2 games in a day. Basketball, I'm sure if you needed to, they could do it, but there's no point because it's not a group play in the tournament. But it makes it fun.
Yeah.
Because I like I've always liked the double elimination. I mean, it's saving my team's ass right now on this run that we've been in, but could you imagine how much different of a vibe this tournament would have and feel if, you're rooting for a team and it's just 1-4-2-3. They lose their first game off like a flubbed catch or something after they put up 9 runs. And you're like, well, really? That's it? Like, we only get one shot at this? Like, it just makes it so much better. And you get to see all the teams and play all of them. And yeah, no, I love it.
I mean, could you imagine that? How about imagining March Madness college basketball group play?
That'd be crazy. That'd be so crazy. I like it. I know the student athletes would, but I like it.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, do you have anything else about this? I think
no. Just
kind of went over it.
Put our hopes with ECU today.
Yeah. Let's go Pirates. I mean, dude, if they can be swinging like they did yesterday, I think we're pretty all right.
And is it Trey? Who's the number one pitcher?
Trey. Trey pitched Saturday, and he pitched like 111 innings. It won't be Trey.
Well,
it might be.
I mean, he's got to play. He's got to pitch today.
Yeah,
I know. I knew he threw 109 pitches or whatever, 7.5 innings, but he's got to come out because you have no other arms.
He'll do an inning or two, I'm sure.
And
Zach
then
Zach Root will probably play again. Connor Norby threw over 100 yesterday too, so I don't think we're going to touch Norby at all. Danny Beal, after throwing 91 yesterday, will still somehow come in and play today, I'm sure. I don't know. It could be Zach Root. It could be, let me see. Let me see if they have like a projected pitcher out already. Here's the one thing I don't like about the college baseball, specifically like for betting lines, because I was trying to bet some of these games, and I had the over in the ECU game last night, which they cleared by themselves. But most of these teams, man, they don't have like a 5 up and down like rotation,
Right.
like an MLB team does. So you know who's pitching. For some of these teams, you don't know who's pitching until I'm sure they don't even know if they're pitching up until an hour out. And they're just like, all right, they put it on the graphic and they're like, this guy's pitching today. You're like, what the fuck? I really wish they had something that was a little more, I don't know, just organized.
I agree. I agree. Trey, I mean, obviously, this is a do or die game, but you kind of are hoping, I guess, in the back of your mind, you could do this with a Band-Aid rotation today, and that you have him ready to go up against Tennessee, hopefully in game 1, because you're going to need him.
Damn, man, I don't know. Fucking Crawler, maybe. I think it could be Root if he can do it. It might just be like a weird.
Everyone goes an inning. Everyone goes an inning.
Growler won't start though. He'd come late. Costello, maybe. I don't know. It'll be really interesting to see how he handles today.
That closer you guys had, the 3. He's got that 3 name. He was injured.
Closer. What are you talking about?
I don't have the roster in front of me, but who's that kid that was fantastic? Then he got injured. He came in at the beginning of the 9th, did all right, and then hit that batter, and then that was it for him.
Oh, fuck, who did this? I don't know, but I remember it happening. Fuck. Richie? No, maybe. Might have been Richie. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I'm pulling up the roster right now.
I'm trying to look at it, but it's not helping.
Well, while you do this, let's talk about our Red Sox.
All right, what is there to talk about the Red Sox? So we did the podcast Tuesday, right?
Yep.
And at that time, we were up 4-3. We ended up going on and winning that game against the Orioles. Good job, Red Sox. But up until that point, we were already 1-1.
Wyatt Lansford Schenkman.
Okay, yeah. Do you think a baseball week starts on a Sunday or Monday?
Monday.
Okay, so we'll count. We'll count that we were 0-1, then 1-1, 1-2, 6-1 loss to the O's on Wednesday. Lose that series, and then we just concluded a series with the Tigers yesterday, where we surprisingly split 2-2. But I will say, I don't think I've seen us look so bad, even with only splitting a series.
Yeah.
I honestly, up until right now, I thought we lost 3 out of 4 here when I was about to pull this up, and you could have convinced me that was the case. They look kind of stinky against the Tigers, and the Tigers are like decent. They're just like mid, just like us. But I feel like, I don't know. Did I say we were going to sweep them? I can't remember. I think I said 3-1.
I think for our weekly projection, we needed them to go 3-1.
Gotcha. But so that's 3-4. No, I think we said 3-4.
Oh, yeah.
We did. Now that's ringing a bell. So we nailed that on the head. I don't know if we got around to it the right way. But we did it 3 and 4. We're back to, I think, 30 and 30. Just the epitome of mid 500 team. You know, I saw this. I wish I could find this stat.
But I think we would have taken a 500 team at this point.
Oh, 100%.
We're over projecting there.
We're overachieving for sure.
Overachieving.
But this is funny. Here it is. So the Red Sox are 30 and 30, the epitome of mid. They have previously been 1 and 1, 2 and 2, 7 and 7, 9 and 9, 10 and 10, 19 and 19, 22 and 22, 24 and 24, 26 and 26, 27 and 27, 28 and 28, 28 and 20, 28 and 28, 29 and 29. Isn't that crazy? It's just one of those teams that we're just coming back to the norm every time. That's so funny. I saw this too. You might laugh. This was on Red Sox Twitter. It said 70% of the world's surface is covered by water. The other 30% is covered by this dude, Zidane Raphael. I like that one.
His catches lately. Again, we talked about about this last week. I mean, what an athlete! What a defensive athlete!
Yeah, he's incredible. And I know there were so many people that were already bitching about his extension and stuff when it happened earlier this year, locking him in for 8 years. And I think we talked about it. We were like, you know, even if his bats it hasn't come around yet, and we got him for 8 years to figure that out. Even if he's figured it out by year 4, just the defensive presence that he's going to have on the team already. And then on top of that, you add a potential like consistent offensive guy later on that can like rival Duran for like, you know, that sort of role.
Yeah.
Then we're looking back on the contract and we're like, this was an absolute steal.
I mean, in our watching lifetime, I finish off Fred Lynn. You know, we've had Ellis Burks in center. We had Otis Nixon. We had, I mean, obviously Jackie Bradley Jr. You had Jacoby. Duran has played. But I mean, Raphael, I think, is one of the best defensive center fielders we have seen.
Oh, yeah.
And Jackie Bradley Jr. was incredible.
I was just about to say, I think, I don't know if I put him, I don't know. I might actually put him above Jackie.
I think I would.
Barely, though. If I'm going to do it, it's barely. And I don't feel good about it. I mean, I do. It's not that I don't feel good about it. I do feel good about it because Zidane is just wildly impressive. But I'm just, I don't know. Maybe I'm thinking too much about the fact that like Jackie was a part of that World Series team. So I might be giving him a little more credit. And the rest of his outfield around him was also phenomenal. He was definitely helped out by having Benintendi and Betts back there that were great.
Yeah.
That allowed him to play how he did because you know that they could like pick up the slack or get it if you know you're missing a diving catch or some shit like that. If you need a cutoff man, it just worked better.
I mean, yes, you have Duran in left, but yet you got to cover a huge right field. And yes, Abreu's been playing well. I think more offensively and made some defensive catch. But that one catch when he went to the right field just came out of nowhere.
Mm-hmm.
And yet, I don't think, and I haven't watched so much SportsCenter top 10s lately, but I don't know if he has been in as many as he probably should.
Yeah. I don't know. Sorry, while I was looking there, I just saw it's Al Horford's birthday. I know we haven't talked Celtics yet, but happy birthday, Al Horford. Yeah, I don't know. I don't really have much to say about the Sox. It wasn't like, 3 and 4, but some people will be like, well, that's a really shit week. It's like we're 30 and 30. We're third in the division.
And we have tons of injuries right now.
Tons of injuries, exactly. Like this team can just stay at 500, I'm okay with that, and then get going later on in the year when hopefully everybody's back healthy and really rolling. And who knows? We'll see. I will say, like, I'm not. We talked about it last week. I completely lose hope once you get to that number, like 3 or 4 down, because I don't think the offense can do it. However, that's not me saying I don't trust this team to come back. I do trust this team to win some games, though. If the pitching's working really well from the start, fuck, man. If we got into a wild card, I'm a lot more optimistic now, 60 games in, than I was at the start of the year. So, I don't know.
And I think what's great is that the farm system has some opportunities for some, pick and play players to hold off. But I think that come trade deadline, again, you still have Kenley, O'Neal could be shipped off. Would you even ship off Motzi?
Yeah. Matzo.
I mean, I think we have some.
I think you need to.
I think we have some pieces that teams will want that either helps improve a pretty good, a decent farm system. I'm sure that going into the year we were like, yeah, is it? But
yeah, it's I don't know. I'm okay with the system, the farm system in place, and some of the guys we've got. I really want that Kenley Jansen trade to go through, like we were talking about. Because we loved that move. We were planning the next 5 years for the Red Sox with that.
Yeah.
I think the farm system's fine, and like, we've called up these guys like, Zidane, who, like, nobody. The way I see the Red Sox farm system, we don't have like the flashy name prospects outside of Marcelo, and outside of Tristan when he wasn't there. But we still got guys that are going to contribute. I mean, it's not like these guys aren't almost Major League Baseball players. It's just, it's not the fucking SEC Player of the Year guy that you've heard has been in the Yankee system for 3 years because he went number 1 overall or whatever it is,
Yeah.
It's not like we're just drafting and fucking getting rid of guys. We're drafting to need, and we'll see if they get back up at some point. But I'm happy with the team that we have now. And when they're doing well, when they're staying in games, it's a fun team to watch. I'll give them that. I really will. They are pretty fun to watch when they're sticking around. All right. Anything else about the Sox? Oh, wait. Let's look ahead.
Yeah, I'm just looking at some of the. I just pulled up our top prospect batters. Obviously, Marcelo Mayer's on top. We got Roman Anthony, Kyle Teal, all in Double-A. Nick York, Double-A.
See, that's why
Blaze Jordan, Double-A. We love Blaze.
Yeah. That Double-A team is fucking stacked.
Yep.
I love Kyle Teal too. I think that was the best pick of the draft last year. I mean, well, obviously, there's like the Paul Skeens and stuff like that, but Kyle Teal, for where we got him, I think at 7, 6 or 7, he was really good at Virginia.
And he's batting .307 on base percentage, .411. Yeah, that Double-A team is the future.
Loaded. Yep. Is that the Paw Sox or the Woo Sox?
No, Portland.
There we go. Portland Sea Dogs. And then AAA is the Woo Sox now, yeah?
This is the Woo Sox, yep.
Okay.
And speaking of the Woo Sox, Bobby did get called up. I wish we were on YouTube. We got to get on YouTube and just see you just smirk. Yeah, Bobby.
I thought that was when he got called back down, a couple weeks ago. I'm not gonna lie, I thought that was the last we were hearing of Bobby Dahlbeck. I really did.
Yeah.
And then he went and lit up AAA. I know he's one of those 4A players, man. I don't know. All right, so this week, the now Bobby Dahlbeck Red Sox 2 games at home against the Braves starting tomorrow. We are off tonight. And then Thursday, we start a 4-game series with the White Sox, who I think are the worst team in baseball. From Thursday to Sunday, and then we're off next Monday. So 6 games, 6 different times, 5 different times. It's kind of cool. We played 8 on Thursday. Oh no, it makes sense. That's Central. They're in Chicago. Okay.
I mean, I hate to say it, but this could be another just 500 week.
I know. I really want to say 4-2.
I
Even
do
if
too.
you lose both to Atlanta and then beat the White Sox 4 times. I don't know if you could beat the White Sox 4 times, though. That's the only thing.
That's the thing. I
and
think
they
we're
suck,
gonna have,
dude.
They suck. Yeah, but
they
I
are
think,
better at home, though. I will say they're 10-21 at home, whereas on the road they're 5-24. But they have lost 10 straight games. They fucking suck.
But yet
We
I
have to
see
go
one of those.
4-2.
Yeah,
But no,
I mean,
right.
I think
we
what
know
could
this team.
happen I think what can happen is we steal. I mean, Atlanta's injured. We could, steal one, and then
we drop
drop the last game of the series to the White Sox.
Yeah. All right. Let's hope for 4-2. Let's prepare mentally for 3-3.
Yeah,
because this team just wants to just stay right there, right at 500. The whole
right at 500 the whole year.
We're gonna go a nice fucking 81-81. See it now. All right. Well, enough of that. So we finally have the NBA Finals this week on Thursday, June 6th. We're finally starting. It's felt like forever. I don't know what to do without Celtics basketball in my life for another 3 days. How are you feeling?
What a time for us! What a time for us to start the podcast.
Yeah, I know. With this success, oh yeah.
How do I feel? Positive. I'm leaning towards 6. I would have loved for us. 7, and it'd be cool to win it at home. I kind of don't want to win it in Dallas, but I don't see us winning in 5, so that's why I think 6.
I also think it's 6. Especially given the question mark about Porzingis. I know there's rumors and stuff that he should be playing, and he's practicing now. As of 8 hours ago, it says between social media posts and recent on-court work with teammates, Kristaps Porzingis appears to be nearing a finals return. So I think it's got to be 6. It could be 5. I wouldn't mind it being 5. Obviously, like you say, win it in Boston. And I've seen on Celtics Twitter some people actually saying 5. Now I don't know if, I know we match up well against this team.
That's the funny thing. I was just pulling up, getting ready for this, and you have some little media out there that say that this is a matchup nightmare for the Celtics. And
how?
I mean, I don't know, and I didn't watch the whole thing. I just want to take obviously your top 2 on both sides are going to just score. I would take the over on the series every single day. Jason and Jalen and Luka and Kyrie are just going to be putting up their points. They've done it in the past 2 games that we've seen already that they've played this year. So it's just going to go down to the role players. It's just going to be, the Holiday, the Derek White, the Porzingis. I just think that we are.
Did you just call them role players?
Yeah. Well, I
get what you said.
Players, but yeah.
Yeah.
your two stars are going to be putting up 30 plus points. They did it in the last the games. Well, Kyrie didn't. He did 20 something and 19, but those guys are going to put up 22 plus points each and every game. We're not going to be, they're not going to get stopped.
Oh,
It's just going to happen.
well,
No,
I don't know.
I think Luka and Kyrie and Jason and Jalen are going to be putting up points.
Yeah, I mean, they're going to have to, but I think as far as, like I was saying, like matching up well here, defensively, I mean, Kyrie had a couple stinkers last series, I won't lie, and he has throughout the playoffs. And he's been fine because those are the games in which Luka has his Luka games. But I just feel like we match up really well in order to combat Luka's length and just stay ahead of him. And I can imagine it being maybe Jalen. I think Jalen will get Luka. Who I think I might almost take. I'd take Drew as a better on-ball defender, but as far as the length to be able to match Luka there and the size, I like JB better on him. And then that puts what? Drew on
Kyrie.
You could put Drew on Kyrie, or I saw something last night saying you could put Derek White on Kyrie because he might have a better shot at like getting up and contesting those weird fadeaways and shit that Kyrie does. I think Drew could stay in it and get a hand in his face. I think White's got a little more length when it comes to his wingspan.
Well, yeah. I mean, Derek has gotten a number of block shots that I didn't even think, how much he actually had during the course of the year. And you always see him with a great block when it's needed. So, again, I think what could confuse Kyrie, and that's what you have to do. You have to, an old, Bill Belichick, right? Luka's going to do what Luka does. Let's just shut everybody else down.
Yeah, let him beat us alone.
Let him beat us alone. And if you could throw a number of players at Kyrie, which you can, confuse him.
That's almost why I like the Derek White on him more, just because then. So I said what? I said JB on Luka. I said White on Kyrie. That leaves you with Drew, Tatum, and one of Al or Porzingis. Tatum would probably go. I think
JB Washington. PJ Washington.
Yeah, PJ Washington or Derek Jones Jr. because he's been out. He was playing a lot more on the perimeter. So was PJ. PJ was throwing up some shots. I think Tatum will switch between the two of those. Drew will get whichever one he doesn't, and Drew's fine with that. Drew's like a Marcus Smart, man, where it's just like he does not need the size. He can go up there and literally he can defend a center, and I feel good about it. And it's crazy that I love Marcus and really wish we were able to get him a ring, but you see Drew at the end of last series and stuff and getting those crunch time steals. I'm like, fuck, man, this is just Marcus Smart all over again, but he's actually a consistent 3-point shooter, and his floor general ability is just phenomenal. But then he can move around. You keep Al away from the 3-point line, hopefully, because we were talking about felt like defensively that was his downfall in the last series. He was getting either pump faked and then drove on, or they were just shooting over him. So you keep him down low, and then you have Tatum and Drew just wandering and getting those. Even if it's a 2-man, a 2-3 zone almost, and you keep White and Brown on Luka and Kyrie the whole time, and you just zone across the baseline for the rest of it. I mean, be okay with that.
Yeah, I mean, when you're looking at Drew can easily shut down Josh Green or Tim Hardaway Jr.
Yeah, those guys stink.
Yeah. So you got to match up favorably defensively for us there, and then probably offensively as well.
Now, let's also pump the brakes though, because, and it was new. We hadn't seen this Drew Holiday that we saw in the Pacer series. We hadn't seen that for a while, and I think we can't expect him to be the guy that's going to come out here and we want him to give us 20 or give him 25 in the finals games. That's not how this series is built, I don't think. Dallas is definitely more defensive, way better defensively than Indiana. They like to slow the pace down. Luka likes to take his sweet time getting his fat ass across court.
Yeah.
So there's not going to be that many opportunities for, up and down transition offense, transition basketball that Drew was really getting in some easy points, some free work there. But he'll still be a guy that I think we can consistently get 10, 8, 7 from him this series. And he's not going to be in the conversation for the finals MVP at the end of it because the stats won't jump off the page or anything. But in the Eastern Conference Finals, yes, Tatum was great, and I love Tatum. I'm 100% was on board that Jalen should have won that award. And if it wasn't for the fact that they're so heavy on stats, if you're talking about just impact, I almost would have gave it to Drew over Tatum. I would have had Tatum third in the Eastern Conference Finals MVP rankings for myself personally. So I mean, Drew's impact's going to go beyond the box score, and just allowing him to feel free, play free defensively, and kind of just look for his shot. Doesn't need to be, a guy that we're going to rely on the 2 or 3 like we did this last series. I think it's going to get him, I don't know, a little more settled in shooting behind the 3-point line. Now, don't get me wrong, he was kind of knocked down throughout that series anyways, but some of the open ones that would, in and out, I don't think we're going to see that again, because I think Drew's just going to be a little more settled in. And you keep in mind, this is not his first finals either. This is not our group's first finals, but he went to the finals the year before that too. So he's itching for number 2. The boys are itching for number 1. They've got the experience. They've been in this sort of, thing before, and Luka hasn't. Kyrie obviously hasn't. Will bring a veteran presence there, but then you got a bunch of other, like you were mentioning, role players. I mean, PJ Washington was living in fucking Charlotte, North Carolina 6 months ago, playing for the Hornets, and now he's in the finals. So I don't know.
And I mean, obviously, I always say role players play better at home. And I mean, alone, if that's the case, we have 4 home games versus their 3. So,
yeah. So that means one game will get a fucking Sam Hauser masterclass, and another game will get a Peyton Pritchard masterclass.
And that's why I think having Pritchard, and I mean, that kid, can just light it up and have that spark. So we're just deeper roster wise than they are.
Yeah, definitely.
And now talking more about it, I mean, 5 does sound a very well
sounds reasonable.
Reasonable. It does. Yeah.
And it has nothing to do with shitting on the Mavericks or anything. I mean, they're a good team. They made it to the finals for a reason. It's just man, if we're rolling, I really don't see a way that the Mavericks can expose a matchup, because I think our plan for it is just going to be so much better. Kyrie's 0-10 against the Celtics in his last 10 games.
Yeah.
Ever since stepping on Lucky. Don't mess with the fucking leprechaun. And something off the court here, not really off the court, but the way that Joe Mazzulla has been coaching, I think we've got the coaching advantage too. He's been coaching his ass off. So the first series, a little questionable stuff by Joe at certain points where I was like, what the fuck are we doing? Can we call the timeout? Now he's in his playoff mode, and I mean, just in the Indiana series, the couple days now after the series is concluded, I'm seeing all over Celtics Twitter, people are, picking at games, checking game 4 where I think Tatum had 5 fouls, and he was and Obi Toppin was getting in foul trouble too. They're like, check the play that Joe Mazzulla calls up for right after a timeout. Got the ball in. Tatum or Toppin was on Brown or somebody. Immediate switch, pick, so they switch, get Tatum on Obi, and they just kept attacking Obi Toppin. And it's one of those things that's like in crunch time, Rick Carlisle just wasn't able to, just outcoach him in the minutes that you need it to in the last 3 to 4 minutes of the game. And when you find a weakness like that, and believe me, Joe's going to find them in Dallas, even though they, like I'm saying, they are a better defensive team. He's going to find the weakness, and we're going to see it. I'd honestly say, I don't know if it would be game one because you don't want to give away, your game plan for the whole series. I think they're just going to try to play their game and see if it works. But if he finds something that works early in game one, to allow us not to lose another game two, which we didn't do last series, obviously. I think if he's going to be like, yo, PJ Washington is the weak link, I want you switching, and I want Jalen with the ball running downhill at him, or I want Tatum with the ball and looking for a three, or just straight up going to the hoop on him.
Yeah, I think that hopefully, I mean, obviously the 3-point is in the game and major part of our game, but I do want to see Jason going to the basket more and trying to expose that in game one, and especially, if it works, game two, and then, be away and utilize your three. Because if we're up 2-0 and going back to Dallas, go ahead, go to your 3-point and see what can happen. And,
you're saying just let it rip?
Yeah.
I see this all the time, and I fully believe it. Whenever Jason Tatum remembers that he's 6'10", he's the best player in the world. He's the best player in the world. Once he's like, oh shit, I am taller than these guys. I am bigger. I am stronger than these guys. I can just go to the hoop. When he plays like that, he's the best player in the world. When he plays like he thinks he's the size of Peyton Pritchard and starts throwing up random threes, that's when we get into trouble. So I think that definitely, if they can get that going, and if he can just feel comfortable not, settling for a three, but going for the two. I know their whole mindset, 3 is worth more than a 2. And yes, it is, but, a made 2 is more than an empty 3. So, especially if, we just have a game where we're shooting cold.
And on top of it, by us going, I mean, sure, yeah, you have Derek Lively and PJ Washington, Dwight Powell, those guys, and Keebler, but, hopefully go to the basket and get some of these guys in foul trouble.
Yeah, that's big too. And we'll see. I mean, you could see it in, I think it was game 1 against the Pacers. They had like 3 free throws, and we had like 24. And usually I'm not going to lie, if I was a Pacers fan and I saw that free throw discrepancy in a game that they gave away, I'd be definitely irritated, and understandably so. But we do get a lot of points at the free throw line, and it's not our fault if the ref's calling it. That's all I got to say about it. It's like, it's not like we're like flopping shit.
And I think that's
like
definitely changed in recent years. I mean, us being able to get a foul advantage and go into the line, because that wasn't the case a couple years ago. I would see that they were, not calling fouls against us, and we had that 24-3 disadvantage. But now we get it, so use it. Go, Jason. Go to the basket.
Especially because I'm looking at this right here. Defensive shot location frequency. This is where opposing teams look to generate their offense against the Mavericks defense. The lower the team ranking, the more frequently teams attack those spots. Around the rim, 31.6%, 11th in the league. Pretty high up there. Mid-range, 32.1%, 24th in the league. Short mid-range, 22.7%, 18 in the league. And long mid-range, 32.1%, 19th in the league. 3-point range, 36.4. And then success rate, around the rim, they're allowing 67.6%, 22nd in the league. So that could really be their downfall, is just like the lack of perimeter, or the lack of rim defenders. Whereas against the 3, like, they're okay. 3-point range, 37.5%, 19th in the league. Non-quarter threes, 32.3%, 37.2%, 22nd in the league. Corner threes, 38.1%, 13th in the league. So we can definitely find our success on the 3-point line if we want it to be. I just don't want it to be those forced threes that, were frustrating us last year. I want it to be the drawn out threes, the plays where you're making the switches and you're getting them open, and the ones where, they forget Derek White or Drew Holiday's in the corner and stuff like that, rather than Tatum taking his dribble, throwing it off of two guys and seeing if it goes in.
Yeah. I think obviously we're going to have better ball movement than they do, which is going to create that mismatch and that open three that we're going to need. Yeah, the more we talk about it, I like it in 5.
I know. The more I'm just feeling so much better about it. Let me see if I can find a Porzingis update. I don't think there is any. I think we're not going to know probably until, I'd say, Wednesday. I mean, no, that makes sense. Why would you, they're probably game planning if he's in there or if he's not, but no, we're not going to know till Thursday. Why would you give the Mavericks any more time to game plan around Porzingis being in? Yeah, we're not going to. He'll be a game time decision, and if he plays, that's great, and we'll have sets for him. And like we said, he's going to get eased back into action. We talked about this last week, about a little bit of a lack of minutes to start, and just making sure that we don't, fully push him too hard, and get him out there for crunch time minutes if we need him to be. But we'll see. So. Like I mentioned, June 6th, Thursday, Game 1 in Boston. Then June 9th, I think that's Sunday, we'll have Game 2 in Boston. So next week, when we do our episode, through Game 2, we'll see if we get rid of the Game 2 woes and can go out and pull that series out right there. Yeah. You got anything else on them?
No, not at all. But I think the more we talk about it, the more we feel confident that it could be a win back in Boston, which would be absolutely crazy.
Yeah, to lift that bad energy in the TD Garden that we've had since, I don't even know, the 2019 Bruins final against the Blues. I'd say there's just been a lot of weird energy in the air in playoff hockey and playoff basketball in TD Garden since, and I feel like winning it in Boston kind of reset the aura. I think that'd be good for the team. Let them know, we dropped some Game 2s this series, but came back, won it at home, and it would carry over next year for them.
I think what's going to happen, and we'll go in 5, but since we've won every road game so far this year and only lost the 2 being back here at home, I think we will lose Game 2. It'll go 1-1.
I think it's going to go 1-0, 2-0, 2-1, 3-1, 4-1. Fuck it. I'll do 5. Yeah.
Yeah.
If not, it would go
1-1,
2-1, 3-1, 3-2, 4-2, and we'd win it. They'd win Game 5 in Boston. We'd win Game 6 in Dallas.
Gotcha.
Either way, I know you talked about 7 earlier. I don't think
it's going 7. No.
And even if it does, I've stood behind, this opinion all year, and I'll continue to say it. I don't think there's a single team in the NBA that in a 7-game series has beaten the Celtics team 4 times. I just don't.
Right.
But yeah. So, I don't think we have time for a little trivia thing.
It's only 4 minutes.
You want to do it?
Yeah.
All right, go ahead.
All right. Let's see. How do I share my screen?
It's a little button at the bottom, right next to the mic. Just share your screen. Nice. Fuck yeah. OG Frid.
Oh.
All right. Oh, Sporkle. Good old Sporkle.
Oh, you know Sporkle?
I know Sporkle.
All right. So we have 4 minutes, 24 questions. Which player can we determine whether this given athlete played for the Patriots, the Bruins, Celtics, or Red Sox? Are you ready? All right.
Adam McQuaid is a Bruin.
Boom.
Zdeno Chara is a Bruin. Jason
Tatum
is a Celtic.
David Price is a Red Sox.
Red Sox.
Mookie Betts,
Red Sox.
Brad Marchand. Oop, I almost hit the wrong one. Bruin. Hanley
Hanley.
Ramirez.
This is
Sock.
easy, man.
Tuca.
Bruins.
Bruin. Torrey
Krug.
Krug. Bruin.
Pedroia. Red
Sox.
Sox.
Marcus Smart.
Marcus Smart.
Marcus
Dante
Smart.
Hightower. Pats.
Patriot.
We're
Rob.
nailing this. Pats.
Patriot. Julian.
Edelman. Pats. Blake
Ooh.
Swihart.
Red Sox.
Legend, too. I love Swihart. Goskowski, Pat, Kyrie, Celtic. That's funny. Al Horford, Celtic.
Happy birthday.
Tom Brady.
Yeah, was it?
Yeah.
Chris Sale, Red Sox.
Oh, my God. Gilmore,
Stephen
Pat.
Gilmore,
Terry Rozier, Celtic. Shane Larkin,
Shane.
Celtic.
Patrice
Bergeron, Bruin. That's 24 for 24. Fucking nailed that.
Ooh.
In a minute and 7 seconds. Average score of 81%. You guys are terrible. You guys are terrible if you missed anything on that. Genius level Einstein. Yep. Look at that. #1 Boston sports podcast on the market right here. Just nailed 100%. Your favorite podcast could never. Look at that. That's crazy. All right, maybe we'll do some more of these going on and
I like that.
next week.
Yeah.
I'll find a
see if we can still be on this genius level.
Yeah, seriously. That was easy. That was really easy. Thought they were gonna give us like you mentioned earlier, Jared Saltalamacchia or like a fucking Jonas Jerebko. I mean, that's a Celtic, but if you see that name and you don't know, you're 100% hitting Bruin.
Yeah, Bruin.
Yeah. I'm trying to think of other guys. What about? Oh man. Oh, my least favorite Patriot player, Miles Bryant. That could be any if you don't know him. This is actually fun. Try to think of another. Brock Holt. Although I think people know Brock Holt too much to know that's a sock.
Yeah.
But,
Mike Greenwood.
No, that's fun. That's a good one.
That could have been anybody.
Yeah. We could do a whole podcast of just coming up with like random obscure Boston athletes that could be on this list. We should make like an extreme difficulty level for this one. But all right, well, that's all I've got. I gotta take a shit. Are you you all done? You all ready?
I'm all done.
All right. Well, that'll conclude episode 22 of a New Era podcast. Thank you guys so much for listening. Once again, any questions, comments, concerns, want to get them to the team at A New Era Podcast on Twitter, on Instagram, A New Era Podcast on Facebook, and email-wise, anewerapodcast@gmail.com. You can send us funny stuff. You can send us anything you want over there that we can bring on here and react to on the show and talk about as well. Definitely, if you got any...
Help us get over 400 downloads. We're close.
We're right there. Going to be nearing the 500 mark before we know it. Should be insane. We are just about 6 months in, or no, because we started end of January-ish.
Yeah.
Mid-January. So we're just about 5 months in a couple weeks, probably in 2 episodes, and almost at 1,000 downloads all time, which is crazy to us. So thank you guys for the constant support and listening to these, and we really couldn't do it without you. So, you got anything else, Dan?
Nope. Just love you, son.
Love you, Dan. Let's get out of here.